Hey everybody, it's Lachy here from Noisegate. Today we're checking out the Moog Messenger. It is a monophonic analog synthesizer from Moog. We've had it in the studio for a little bit today and we're really excited to show it to you. We're going to put it through its paces, see what it can sound like. If you want to also get a bit more info on what the sequencer and arpeggiator can do, then please stick around. Let's dive into it. Recently, Moog discontinued the subsequent 25, which was kind of like their compact 25 key monophonic analog synthesizer. And now they've come out with this, the Messenger. I wouldn't say it's a replacement because it's much more affordable and offers a few more flexible and cool little things to make sounds with. And we'll get into that a bit later. It is monophonic, so you can only play one note at a time. However, this thing, like from first impressions, sounds huge. We've also got 32 full-sized keys with channel aftertouch, which is great. They feel really nice. You could see some of that playing I did before. They feel really good. I can do runs quite easily. They're really responsive and they actually feel quite really sturdy. You can actually sort of see. And the aftertouch is also nice and easy to engage as well. On the back, we've got USB-C for connectivity to your computer, 5-pin MIDI in and out, which is also great, but also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 CV ins and outs for connection to other analog gear, which is really great. We've got gate and CV out and gate and CV in, as well as clock in and out for clocking your Eurorack system or receiving clock from it. You can send gate and CV in a manner of different way, whether that's pitch or modulation. So that's really cool to see. That means that you can send this sequence that we've built up to your Eurorack system or your drum machine or whatever gear you've already got in your existing setup. Really nice to see. Also expression and sustain pedal inputs, great for keyboard players. An external in, so that would actually override the internal feedback loop on our external in knob here. So you could actually send in a drum loop or something and a drum machine and put that through the filter, which would be really cool. And then obviously we've got headphones in and out. So I really like connectivity on this. This is great. It's good to see such a flexible suite of connections on a analog monophonic synth in this price range. Awesome. So if we go left to right along the panel, we've got one LFO1, so our main low frequency oscillator for modulation and various things. We've got rate, depth, various shapes, which is cool, and also a bunch of destinations, which are all accessible via these panels. So you can obviously see there's a lot of knobs per function, which is really fun. It's always great to have a synth that you can immediately go for a parameter and start switching straight away. And also a reset and sync button for the LFO, which is great. If we move over to here, we've got our oscillator section, 2 oscillators, pretty standard for building sounds on a synth. We've got tune and also a subwave. So if we actually pull up an init patch, got various shape. We're listening to oscillator 1. But I can actually pull in that sub oscillator. Cool, so I can actually start stacking and have a pretty thick sound straight out just with the oscillators. Yeah, pull down that ladder filter a bit. Cool. Then we've got a mod amount as well, which is a modulation amount for a bunch of different pathways. So we've got 1/2 for frequency modulation FM, and then a bunch of envelopes into different sections in the oscillators. So that's pretty flexible as well. Then we've got our mixer section, oscillator 1, a sub oscillator, oscillator 2, and a noise function 2. Now here's the filter section, which I think gives Messenger a lot of his character and really tells you that this is a Moog synth. It's a classic take on Moog's ladder filter design, which was designed by Bob Moog, founder of Moog, and that gives Moog its classic sort of warmth and saturated filtered sound. For example, here's an oscillator with just a 4-pole low-pass filter on it. That really tells me that this is like a classic Moog synth, just giving me that sort of... Now the cool thing here is that it's given us a feedback external in, which is kind of like a throwback to the Mini Moog Model D, which is the famous monophonic performance synth from Moog. And what you could do is people used to patch the headphone jack into the external input and create a feedback. So this kind of mimics that in a circuit inbuilt into the Messenger. That sounds pretty gnarly, and you can sort of see it's actually like distorting into different harmonics there. I'm not sure quite what's going on there, but if someone knows, please let me know in the comments. Then we've got oscillator 2 to modulate the frequency cutoff of the filter. That's sick. So in addition to the classic low-pass ladder filter design, we have bandpass and high-pass, but this resonance bass switch will actually toggle between preserving low end when you increase the resonance in the filter. So if we actually... There's our traditional resonance. Now we turn it on. It's actually introducing much more complex and different harmonics. Let's introduce some of that external feedback too. Whoa, there's a lot of sweet spots right there. Okay, I'm only using one oscillator out of the two. That's a lot. We've got 4-pole low pass, 2-pole low pass, bandpass, high pass. So a lot of flexible filter options there too, which is really nice. I'm getting a lot of cool sounds straight out of the box. I'm really liking that. So let's move over to the envelope. What do we got here? Classic filter envelope and an amplifier envelope, multi-trigger, frequency envelope, velocity, loop, and the same for our amplifiers. So we actually have 2 looping ADSR envelopes to use throughout the keyboard, and they're patched in different ways, which I think is super fun. We can obviously track the filter with our keyboard as well. Then we've got our output volume as well. And something to point out, if you're on this Messenger and you don't know what's going on the keyboard, you can hold in it to reset the patch and go back to a starting initialized patch. Now let's move down to here. We've got our sequencer and arpeggiator. We've got 16 contextual buttons and LEDs that light up for different things. Direction and page. And it looks like it's taking a lot of inspiration from how the Muse was set up for its sequencer and arpeggiator. We've got our record, play, forward and back, and then a bunch of settings and sequencer and arpeggiator contextual buttons to access those different parts of the keyboard. So as you can see, there's no menu diving. Everything is accessible via either a second switch or via a parameter knob, which I think is really nice and intuitive for, you know, getting the sounds quickly, being able to perform quickly and build your sounds like that. And then what I really like about this is down here, we've got our left-hand controls really accessible. I'm a keyboard player, so I really like having not only the mod wheel and the pitch wheel, which seem really solid and well built, right at my left hand when I'm performing. It's also great to have intuitive controls like the glide and LFO rate straight here, so I can really change and affect that sound quickly and intuitively. And then so I can obviously, if I want that, you know, if I want that modulated pitch to be a bit slower, and then obviously I can dial in glide how much I want. So obviously you can quickly see how quickly it is to start building a sound from scratch. I really like how that keyboard's playing. So now let's actually stack up some of those oscillators, dial in some of the filter, and actually make a sound. Bit of resonance. Maybe a bit of this, the filter envelope. Sick. Lower that octave. I'm going to chuck on the arpeggiator. So to do that, all I have to do is press play. And there's also a hold function so that I don't have to keep holding down the keys like that. I've got our tempo switch for lowering the tempo of the sequencer and arpeggiator. Sick. That was super fun. So let's maybe dive in now to a bit of the arpeggiator settings and how you go about accessing those settings. Let's turn on the arpeggiator. All you have to do is have the direction set to pattern or random to be in arpeggiator mode. If you have it set to sequence, you are in sequencer mode. So we're going to go to random, press play, press hold. So at the moment, this is set to random. It's going to take random notes from the keys that I press down, and it will randomly play them in this arpeggiator setting. If I go to pattern here, it will play in the pattern that I play it. So I'm going to play up through the notes so that it plays in that direction. So now, above all these 16 LEDs, you'll see different menu items for the parameters or sequences. Here we've got arpeggiator pattern, so all I have to press is setting, arpeggiator pattern, and now I'm in the arpeggiator pattern menu. You'll see it's flashing. So now when I press 2, now it's going down, up and down. That's sort of like an inverted up and down. Cool. So now we're gonna go arpeggiator octave. We're gonna get it in a second octave. Three octaves. Now let's go to the gate length. Cool, so you'll actually see here, we're now in the gate length setting of the arpeggiator settings, and you can sort of see when I use the tempo button, it actually lights up, so that you can think of this as an LED meter for your gate length. So let's press play. All the LEDs are lit up, so that means that we've got a full gate length, 100%, and then as we dial it down like this, we'll actually get a shorter gate. Cool, so note probability. I'm actually not sure what note probability is, so let's hit it. Cool, so in this note probability, I can go into a note and then increase or decrease the probability of that note happening. So I think that's probably more important when you're in sequencer mode. You can go into per step and affect the probability of that step happening in the sequence, but we'll get into that later. And then we have note pool, so that's the pool of notes I'm guessing in the sequence. Gate probability, so that's the actual probability of the gate happening. That's super interesting. Length of the sequence. Swing, that's another cool thing. So when you enter swing, so let's play that arpeggiator again. Quicker. Swing. It actually acts as step 8 as being the center point, 0 swing, and then you can either increase the amount of forward swing or back swing. Straight. That's great for creating shuffles, funk beats, stuff like that. Really cool. Then we have a bunch of our expression controls, so velocity, aftertouch, and expression, MIDI channel, and configurations for different other settings. So as you can see, it's really easy to access the settings directly from these pages. You know, it took maybe about half an hour to get my head around how it actually works, but once you've got a feel for it, it's really not that hard to use. Now let's look into the sequencer, because I think that's one of the really fun things about this. So the sequencer is obviously accessible via this page here. We've got our record and play functions. All we have to do is go to sequencer here on the direction page. So let's actually bring up an initial, yeah, we'll go to an initial patch. Cool, so we're in sequencer mode. I've got a really basic stacked sine wave with the cutoff rolled off a little bit. So all we have to do to record in is we can either live record in our sequence or step record. So to step record, just press record. Make sure you're in sequencer mode here on the right, press record, and you'll see we've got our first step flashing. And now we can just punch in the notes that we want to play. Sick. I could then, now that I've got it playing, I can actually overdub and overwrite some of those. So I'm going to put a different chord there. Then I can probably change the length. So we've actually added just an extra step there. So let's see, if I go to length. So there we go, I'm increasing the length of the sequence up to another 16 steps. So now, if we go back to sequencer, we've got an empty second sequence, so we're going to add in extra notes into that sequence. That should be recording in those. Ah, see, I wasn't actually... That still sounds kind of cool though. So press record. Cool. Great. So we've recorded it in, and now if we want to record in parameter changes, all we have to do is hold. See how it's got in brackets? You'll see throughout the keyboard if there is a parameter in brackets, that means you can access that setting by long pressing that button. So we're going to hold down sequence, and now we're in parameter recording. So we're in, you'll see that it's empty because it's treating this as 32 empty parameter recording sequence steps. So we're going to do a bit of filter movements. We're going to go here for this value, and then I'm just basically alternating between high cutoff frequency and low off cutoff frequency to create some movement in the filter. So now when we play that back, and for some reason it's wiped my second. One thing to note is that each step can only record one parameter value in per step, something to remember. This is really cool. I've just worked it out. Note probability will basically increase or decrease the chance that a random note is played instead of the recorded sequence note on that step. A lot like Muse's sequencer, which was really fun to play with. So it will operate in either of two ways. Either if there is no notes in your note pool, it will generate a truly random note, almost like just a completely random note, unquantized and non-musical. These dimly lit ones mean there's no probabilistic change. We're going to enable all of them to all basically have a probabilistic change in note pitch. Whoa! So now when I go onto that particular step, I can actually adjust similar to other settings where this is a 0% chance, all lights lit up is 100% chance. So 100% chance that it's going to play a random note per step. So I can sort of go in and dial different percentage chances for different notes. And let's go. Cool. That is because there is no data in our note pool. So the note pool, think of it like a selection of notes that you've chosen. And when you tell the sequencer to choose a random note, it will grab one of those random notes from your note pool. So basically, you can use that to set an alternate set of notes, an alternate voicings, alternate scale, be creative with it, and then get that sequence to randomly pick out those notes to generate more evolving and melodic ideas, or at least seemingly chance musical ideas. So let's go back and get rid of all the note probability first. No randomness. So cool, so now we've got our sequence back. Now let's actually go into our note pool and add in a bunch of notes that we want to change and select from. So we just have to simply press the notes we want to add in. So let's go down a different scale. I was roughly in C pentatonic minorish world, so let's go into G. Nice sort of out notes. So now those are our note pools, and we're going to go back and change the probability and chance that that sequence grabs those notes. So it's not per step, that's applied to all enabled probability steps, is the percentage chance of change. So we're going to go, let's go 50% chance that those steps that are enabled will grab a random note from our note pool. Now let's increase it to 100%. Yeah. Oh. So you go to 75%. Cool. Now I'm going to change our gate probability too as well. So the probability chance of our gate changing. So let's go gate probability. Same thing, let's enable all steps to have a different gate probability. Sweet. And now go back to our gate length. So there you have it. Hopefully you have a better idea of what the Moog Messenger is capable of. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I think this is a really lovely direction for Moog to go in. This thing sounds beautiful. I mean, that sequence that I came up with was just like so much fun to play around with. I think this is going to be great for people who are maybe looking at buying a monophonic analog synth and want to buy a Moog instrument, because this thing is actually really affordable for what it gives you. It sits in a really affordable price depending on where you're buying. I will say one thing that I really want to be able to do is live parameter record in each step. I know that it's only one parameter per step, but it would still be great to be able to record in live the parameter changes that you're doing. I'm sure they can address this in a firmware update. Hopefully they do. If not, I'm sure they have their reasons. Let me know what you think about Messenger in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.